All right, I'm recording. I would like you all to open your books to page, help me out, 29 and a half, right? 29, a little more than halfway down. A little more than halfway down. Right? Now yesterday when we talked a little bit about airbags and stuff, right? All right, so let's see. We're going to watch a video, and the video is already on Google Classroom, so I'll turn off the camera when we get to that point. But let's see what we can do without watching the video. I think we're pretty darn smart, and I think we can do it. All right, so if we look now, at halfway down the numbers start over, so it'll say number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See that? Let's go to number 2. Number 2. And did anyone go to Google Classroom and watch the video? All right, so without the video, how many people have already answered number 2? That's what I thought. So let's do it together. All right, here we go. Isaac Newton's first law, and remember for the test, if they say some number, second law, third, we're only talking about the Newton's first law. So on the test, if it says Newton's second law is, no, it's the first law. Here we go, let's fill in the blanks. States, a body at rest remains at blank. Say it.
Rest.
Unless acted upon by an external force. Fill it in. Look how smart we are without the movie. And a body, of course, the opposite of body in motion. Motion, and a body in motion continues to move at a constant
Rate.
Science people are going to say rate. I say speed because I have a speedometer instead of radometer, but the correct term would be rate. So rate or speed. I'm a driver, I guess, so I say speed, but rate is actually correct. A constant rate in a straight line unless it is acted upon by an external, and some people might write outside, both the same, force. Good. Is number 2 done? Everyone's got number 2 done, great. And that way these guys that are driving, if they watch this and they're like, well, I don't know the answers or whatever, they can get them. Number 3, when a car crashes, all right, let's imagine this car is crashing into something that we'll call immovable. Now, are you texting while you're driving?
I'm not driving.
Well, pretend you're driving, you just crashed. You guys know what they're doing in Minnesota for this month, don't you? They're increasing their patrol on distracted driving. Have you guys been watching the news at all? Yeah, they're going to give tons of tickets out for people that are using their phones while they're driving. So did any of you have a conversation with your moms and dads about texting? How did it go? Go okay? Some of you are afraid to. You really should. So show them the commercial. Show the taxi driver drinking booze. And then everyone's like pissed off and they're like, and they're punching him and hitting the glass and pull over and saying bad words. When he's texting, you're like, yeah, that's cool. LOL. So, all right. Okay, car. This is what's hard for our brains to kind of wrap around is, to me, when I think of a car, it's like a solid. It's solid, it's a car, right? So this seems odd, but if a car crashed into a tree that was this big, okay, we'll call it immovable, even though a tornado could pull the tree out of the ground or tip it over, but we'll call it immovable. And a car is going 60 miles an hour and he hits the tree, okay? If you break the seconds down into tenths, there's something called the 7/10 of a second, which I think I might have put it on Google Classroom. You can look. The front bumper in the first 1/10 of a second has collapsed and already pushed into the grill, meaning the front bumper now is going how fast? How fast? You're going 60 and you go bam in 1/10 of a second. The front bumper is going, someone said it? 0 miles per hour. Yet, the back bumper of the car is still going, you're like, that's impossible. If a car stops, it stops. In my mind, you stop, you go. But it actually is true. The bumper, the front of the car is going 0, but the back is going 60. What does that mean is happening? It's like an accordion, like, the polka dances. Roll out, it's echoing at the old weddings or whatever. The car is crumpling. Now, 2007, they did an anniversary for Chevy, and I think it was in fact, I'm pretty sure it was a Malibu, 2007 Malibu, and a 1957 Bel Air. Now, does anyone kind of like a older cars, kind of look at, you know, old Mustangs and GTOs and whatever. The old Chevys, the 57 Chevs were kind of cool because they changed the fins that used to run sideways and they went this way. And so they had these big fins in the back and everyone was like, that 57 Chev, cool. They did an off-center crash. They went, I can't remember the speed, 45, 50 miles, and they ran head-to-head, driver's side to driver's side, half and half. Of course I'm going, are you kidding me? This is gonna be the coolest. Because this 57, the old cars were tanks. I mean, they were tanks. And I thought, this 57 Chev is gonna tear through this Malibu. They're just, because what they did is they started, you know, in the 70s, you know, all of a sudden we're gonna run out of gas. And so we got in this gas crisis and we all lowered our speed limits to 55 nationwide and cars got lighter and so we could get better gas mileage. And now today, of course, now they're back to everyone drives a big truck and an SUV or whatever. But at the time, and so cars are made differently. And I thought this Chevy, this 57 is gonna tear through the 2007. So I watched the video and you're like, and it's a violent crash. And just like you thought, this one had more mass. And so this one, the stopping was more violent on this one. It actually changed direction. This one, the Chevy, they hit, the 57 actually changed this one, so it actually went the wrong way. So it didn't just stop, it went backwards. That force is huge. And you're like, wow, but then they changed up to the other side, and you start to crinkle your forehead, and you're like, what the? Then they went from above, all right? And I knew this already, but I wasn't thinking. I just thought this Chevy, this 57 would tear through the 2007. And all of a sudden, you're looking at just exactly the stories you had. The old cars, they were rigid. And mass matters when you hit something else that's movable. If you're bigger, that's better. But the design of the cars was so poor. When the 57, and it crumpled too, where do you think the steering wheel went? The steering wheel, where did it go? It crushed back into the front seat. In some of the old stories, they would snap and they would actually puncture the driver right into their heart and lungs because it was a solid rod. The engines would come where? Where do you think the engine of a 57 Chev ends up in a crash when things start getting pushed backwards? Backwards. Right into so people are trapped in their car, engines crushed against their legs and hips, and you look at the 57 and it kind of won the push battle, but you look at what they would call the cage or where you sit, you guys are in the front seat, you're gone. There's no room. It's completely smooshed. It's gone. That's a good word, right? Smooshed. Okay? The 2007, I drive a Subaru, and I did a lot of readings, and there's a lot of good cars. But I did a lot of reading. Besides, I like the Boxer 4 engine, and it's really cool. It sits really low in the engine compartment, but they always test crash super high. My car gets in a crash, and I hit something head on, my tires are gonna fall off. They're all connected, it's front wheel drive and everything, but even if it's a rear wheel drive, they're designed to collapse. They just collapse. Where the engine sits, there's curves in the back. If they bend, they snap. The metal will snap, and the engine will go to the ground. Like, that's your car. No. Now, with those gone, the steering columns are collapsible, the engine drops on the ground. What is the front end for now? Just what you said. What's happening to my car? That's exactly what's happening. It's crumpling. It's designed to crumple. It's designed to crumple so you don't stop very fast, because you can't stop. If we could all go to the IDS building, maybe I said this the other day, we could jump off the building. This is so fun, let's do a flip, and we're like, well, until you did what? Until you landed. Oh no, I'll bend my legs. You know, when I land, I'll bend my leg. You're like, yeah, from the IDS building, you bend your leg, they go right up through your brain, you're about this tall. You'd be mushed. You cannot stop that fast. You can't go 60 and go, and stop. Things break. Organs bounce off chests, blood pounds right through organs. It's like, you can't do it. So everything they've done to your car is designed so we can stop longer. So my body doesn't have to go stop that fast. Seatbelts in the 57, they didn't, not that they did this, but they didn't move. Your seatbelt today stretches. Not that you can grab and go, boingy, boingy. It's not like a rubber band, but the fibers will actually open. You're like, well, yeah, but that's not much. Every tiny bit matters. Every tiny bit. So your seatbelt's on, get it low down on your bones, up across your torso, and it's stopping you, and it stretches a little bit. Airbags come out. You don't want a airbag to hit you, so you're far away, but it comes out. Your car is crumpling. I'm alive, I'm alive. I'm alive, I'm alive. You might be hurt. You might have a broken collarbone from the seatbelt. You know, hopefully your belt is down low on your bones, and you might be bruised and stuff, but I'm alive. And then I pulled out an airbag yesterday, right? And then the driver's one too, you know, it's smaller, but it's the same idea. You know, you get in a crash and your car is crumpling and this goes poof in your steering column, it's the steering wheel. It pops out, and then you don't want to get hit by it. That's why we're at least 10 inches, 12 better. And then my face hits it. There's a hole in this one too. Of course, not as big because it's not as big of an airbag. And it goes, I'm alive. That's what we want. So the front end of your car today is designed to crumple, to save your life. And everything just disappears out of it. In the video you're going to watch, they do some cool testing. And when you see, like when you're looking at the side of a car and you see this post right here for the windshield, you know what I'm talking about right here? That would be where your door jamb is, where it closes. If that moves, that's not a good car. So when you watch the video, if you want to, you can look, and if you were at home, you can even rewind it and go, well, that is, I think one of them, I don't mean to be mean, but I think one of them was a Isuzu Trooper. If that thing moves, that's bad. That means everything's moving into you. But if that thing doesn't move, but the front end is crumpling, you're like, I'm alive. Back to question number 3. So we're talking about crumpling. When a car crashes into this big giant sized tree, it's crushing and absorbing. That car's going 60, so it has a lot of E.
40.
E. Energy. So it's absorbing that energy, all right? Which slows down the car as it crumples and crushes, and I'm alive. We do not want it like the 57 Chevy where it just doesn't move and it just goes, ugh, and the car stops. That would be bad, okay? Or if it just started jamming back into us, that would be bad. Let's go to 4. Hey, we're doing this without the movie because we're smart. Number 4, if you are buckled, I'm reading upside down. If you are not, oh, you dummy, you're not buckled. So in that crash we just talked about, and you weren't buckled, holy stupidness. So what if it crumples? So what if the car's crumpling? You're going to keep moving. All right, so if that happened and you kept moving, it says in the above crash, the steering wheel that hits you, and you start going forward, guess where the steering wheel is going to hit you? Probably lower rib cage and your neck. Just, okay? And it's gonna, and of course you keep going maybe into the windshield, which applies the, there's the F word, which applies the force, write it in, force, that will overcome your, and remember Newton's first law, it's got a nickname, it's the law of the I word, law of inertia, overcomes your inertia. Inertia is the property of matter that causes anything to resist change in its current state of motion. Okay, so let's go to 5. There's the I word again. Momentum is inertia in motion. It's a product of an object's mass. Good job. And velocity. Now, Alyssa? Where's Alyssa? Let's see, what time? Oh, it says you're late already. It says 8. It says 8:20. If you want to go hurry back, you can. I don't know. Sorry about that. All right, let's go up to number 1, and I think we'll be done, right? We'll be ready for a video. Well, we'll do this.
Alyssa.
What?
It says Alyssa Trombley. That's
Oh,
what he,
Alyssa Trombley?
she's not in this class.
Well, what the heck they bring in here for? They screwed up. Thank you. Go back to number 1. Real true story. Boy's name is Brock Pope. Okay? Great wrestler. He's a junior. Ranked number 1 in the state. His best friend is Bobby Jenkins. Ranked number 1 in the state. Wrestling. They're my boys. Okay? Neither of them play football. They're pure. They're wrestlers. They're at homecoming. All right? So Bobby is the dummy. So number 1 says the dummy. He's left behind. All right? Don't write anything in here. I'm just telling you that what you're about to see in the video, it's Brock Pope. He's sitting in the back of a pickup truck. This one, he's sitting on the tailgate. He was sitting on the ridge. So do you know what I mean? Like if you had and then the tailgate was down, and he was sitting there, but his butt was on the side of the, you know what so his feet are on the bed of the pickup, but his butt, so the wheel hump would be right here. Is that making sense to you? He's sitting there. Of course, there are girls around. It's homecoming. They're trying to flirt a little bit, you know, maybe get a smoochy, whatever. So, and all of a sudden, Bobby moves the truck. Of course, Brock was an object at rest, and he wants to stay at, but he has weight with friction, and the truck moves. So his butt starts to move with the truck, but he wants to stay here, so what's happening? Oftentimes we think, funny, it's hard for us to comprehend, we think he's falling out of the truck, but really the truck is leaving him. It's like when people get hit in a car and they're not buckled, and they're on the driver's side and they get T-boned. Where are they? On the passenger side, right? Did they fly over here?
No.
So here's what's weird, is the truck went under their butt. You're like, what? I think I just did, sorry about that. You're actually sitting here and the car gets knocked that way, but you want to stay here. You want to stay right here. So all of a sudden you're trying to stay here, but you're not buckled, and the car console hits you, the shifter and thing right here. We have to turn our brains into super. This is a made-up story, but it's a real accident type thing. These are the things that happen. The thing is pushing this person, and they're trying to stay here, but they can't. And as this happens, their leg hits the steering column. Their leg hits the steering column. Now, this guy got hit at 55 miles an hour, 45, 50, 55 miles an hour. So the car is, bam, going that way. I mean, faster than you go. I mean, it's now, but you're not tied to it. And all of a sudden, the steering wheel is bending and ripping through the flesh and snaps the femur bone right out the skin. This guy is like this, and it just scraped and snapped it. No kneecap, took it right off. He's in the air right now. The car is still going that way. And it's weird. This is the physics stuff that's hard to understand, like in a tornado. And the car's going, and he's like this, and his head hits the window, back and head hits the window, but he's about 2 inches too high. Now, I've got no hair. But as he goes out the window, and he's not going out the window's going that way. Is this making sense? It rips his hair off. It scalps him. It's ripped. And as he's in the air now, he's over the hood of the trunk, and his hair is, woman, man, wouldn't matter, it's flipped over, and it's his head bone. Red skeleton bone. Bloody. He's in the air, but gravity's taking care, he's starting to sink. But the car that hit him is still moving. The guy in the car that hit him is probably going to live, even though it's bad, because his seatbelt's on, he's hitting the airbag, he's going to live, but this bald, bony skeleton head hits the windshield and goes right into his car. So this person from this car is now inside of that car, and as he goes through the car, his bald, bloody, stumpy head hits the guy right under the nose and snaps his head back. They're both dead now. And dislocates his brain from his spinal column. Snaps him back so hard. When the accident is over, the guy from this car is in the back seat of this car with his feet out the back window. You're like, what? These are things that happen. When people go, you're in the back seat, and the car is scared because there's a bunny rabbit. Again, run the bunny rabbit over. Sorry about that, guys. Don't aim for the bunny. Hit the brake maybe, but so many times people overreact. Hey, Romeo, put your phone away. And they go like this, and their car, and they're swishing back and forth. We call it a fishtail, because a fish swims like that. And the two people in the back seat, guess what they're doing? They're whamming into each other. And it's not that they're sliding across the seat is actually sliding across them. So all of a sudden you're stuck on the door, you're like, whoa, like a carnival ride, but here comes your friend. Actually, you're going to them. And their head hits you. Their head hits you right on the jaw, and breaks your back teeth and knocks you out. You're like a noodle nut. But God darn it, it's worse because now it's